Hey friends, Pastor Michael from Organic Church, here with Sydney Erickson, Don Reed, Beth Jarvis, Nick Offolter, and Pastor Roger Deerdorf. Catch us off guard. Roger, be careful. Your coffee almost spilled on me.
Yeah, I know. You almost knocked it on me.
I know. Coffee's too valuable to be spilling.
That's true, especially wasting it on me.
I know, right? Jeez. All right, topic. How have you seen God answer prayers? Don't everybody start at once
my
now.
own two eyes.
That was good. That was good. One time I had a dream.
Yes.
No? Wow, we're going to be a slow kickoff, huh?
Right.
Do we need to have pleasantries first? Do we need to... Anybody do anything fun over the weekend? Last week? We haven't been here for 2 weeks.
I went to Gettysburg, but it
I
just
saw that.
rained the whole time,
saw
so
that.
didn't really get to do much.
Okay, I sat in a soccer game in the rain. Now, we have a big golf umbrella. Alyssa's like, well, we'll take our chairs in the umbrella and we'll sit under the umbrella together. Of course, so for an hour and 15 minutes, I'm holding an umbrella, making sure she doesn't get wet while the water's running off the umbrella onto my back.
Yeah.
So,
That's what you're supposed to do.
yeah, well, I did it with joy.
Good.
I was soaked when I got home. Then we decided, like, it was really late. We were like, let's just stop and get dinner at McDonald's or something. Let's just make a quick dinner. So we stop at McDonald's. We all go in. And she's like, I'm cold. Can we leave? Can we leave? I'm so cold. I'm like, I'm freaking hungry. Like, my arm hurts. I can't even lift my arm anymore. Feels like it's dead. Like it was all like,
You're soaking wet.
yeah, soaking wet. And her pants were a little bit wet. So she was cold. She was cold.
She's a princess.
I would say. She, we've been in this heated debate over the temperature in the house.
Been there. Done
Like,
that.
That just came
but
up on my memories.
At what
2
point,
years
men,
ago.
do we get to say what the temperature is in the
Never.
house? Never. Okay, I just needed to know that. Yeah, I needed to know that. Because my wife used to be, in the summer months, she wanted it 68 degrees. She wanted it cold in the summer months, right? Because she didn't want to be hot. And then in the winter months, she wanted it to be 74. Drove me nuts. Now, she's like, don't turn on the air. It's really cold in here. It's 76. It's not cold in here. I'm sweating to death. She's like, yeah, but I'm cold. Right, but nobody else in the house is. We're all running around in our underwear. Like, we're sweating to death.
Margie has the rule that once we shut the central air off,
It ain't allowed on.
we're not turning it back on.
Yeah.
That's good, though.
Yeah.
So it got really kind of hot there
See
for a
that.
while.
Mm-hmm.
And just like struggle through it, So,
Yeah, then you get
There
that
you
week in
are.
October when it's going to be
Yeah.
warm.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
but now
And
she's
in
got
summer?
right now she's got a fan up in the bedroom window,
Mm-hmm.
and you can already feel it starting to get cold in there. And I'm like, that fan's coming out of that window tonight. And she's like, oh no, and I'm like, oh yes.
Okay, so we have a fan in our bedroom that I have to run for the sound. Now, the kids all have sound machines in their room, but the sound machines, the blending of the two sound machines, the boys have one in their room and Adeline has one. The noise, like it keeps me awake from their sound machines. So the fan kind of drowns all of that out. But it sits in front of the floor vent. So when the air conditioner kicks on at night,
yeah.
it is cold in there. It is freezing in there. So we have this really thick comforter on the blanket. Now, I don't want her to touch me when I'm sleeping because I sleep hot. But because I sleep hot and she's always cold, guess what? She always wants to, and I'm like, seriously. She's like, can I just put my arm on you? No, please don't touch me.
It's my feet. Just put my feet
Yeah.
on you.
I'm like, I
My
am
feet. Yep.
dying over here. Please.
Yeah.
Please.
It doesn't get any better.
Yeah. I was afraid of that. I was afraid of
Yeah.
that.
So it's a tough time of year right now.
Yeah. This is the time in my business there. You don't know what to set the temperature at. The incoming guest is, oh, we had to turn on the heat last night. We were so cold. But then the next guest coming is like, it's hot in here. How do we turn on the air?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Especially depending on when that cabin or room is cleaned.
Yep.
And that's
Well,
changed.
But even if I were to clean it today, it's been chilly most of the day, right? So maybe you kick on the heat to get it to, we usually keep them right around 70 all the time. But you have to turn on the heat to get it up to 70.
Right.
That person comes in. The next morning, the sun comes up. It starts to get warm. Now it's 72, 73 in there. And they're hot. So they have to turn back on the air. It's miserable. Worst time of the year. We just bought 2 more.
Did you take any pictures
Cabins?
of them?
I did not take any pictures of them. However, I will tell you the website and you can go check them out. So we bought 4 cabins. We closed on those on Monday. We took possession of those on Monday. It's called Fern Gully Creek. Now, Wild story. We knew that they were there. We knew we wanted them. But we were like, we'll just wait for the owners to be ready to sell. Older folks, eventually they'll be ready. So they called my owner and they're like, hey, we're thinking about selling. Are you interested? We said yes, struck a deal, bought them. Closing was less than 30 days. Like it was a very quick purchase. Last Monday, so my executive meeting, the morning that we closed, I walk into the meeting with my owners and the one owner says to me, how did he word it? He goes, oh, let's get through all of the tedious stuff and then we can talk about the new property. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, we don't need to talk about Fern Gully Creek. We're done. Like, as far as I'm concerned, these things are ready to operate. Like, there's nothing we've got to really do. We got to go and change some signs, adjust some phone numbers. Really not a big deal. So we get through the whole thing. He goes, all right, so when do you want to close on the new ones? What? He's like, well, can we start like next Monday? Can we take him next Monday? I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So he finally tells me that he thought that he had told me, but he had told the group the week before in the executive meeting, which I wasn't in because I was at the hospital with Roger. So he told me that we bought 2 tiny homes in Berlin. So
Nice.
less than 200 square feet apiece. So I saw them today for the first time. Talk tiny.
Wow. That's like
really
micro tiny.
It is tiny. It's basically a horse trailer.
Yeah.
They're a little longer than a horse trailer. I
Yeah,
mean,
they'd be 10 by 20.
yeah. I mean, they are
Yeah.
tiny.
Yeah.
But it's really cool to see how they've utilized the space.
Mhm.
I could never stay in one. And like tiny home living would never be for me, but they're really neat.
Yeah.
It's called Berlin Tiny Home. So if you want to check them out online, and then we will have possession of those next Monday.
Wait, I think I've seen those.
There's only 2 of them, and they're the
But-
only 2 in Berlin.
Do they have a website?
They do.
I feel like I might have ran into them.
Yep. They're really cool. Super modern, super high tech.
Do they make them like custom order? Okay, maybe that's
Nope.
yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
So we can go in and we'll say, Alexa, prepare for the incoming guest. And she turns on ambient music, changes all the lights. And like, it's wild, the stuff that the previous owner had done. So we're going to keep some of those touches. But we are pretty strategic about everything stays the same in our units. Like it's the same bedding. It's the same coffee maker. That way our customer service team is able to just guide somebody through how to use it. We're not going to do that with these 2. These 2 are very unique. They have pour over coffee. They do have a drip coffee pot as well if you don't like pour over, but they're very trendy.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
it's pretty unique.
Okay, so I'm out. What is pour over coffee?
Okay.
Like a French press?
No. So pour over coffee, you grind your beans, you put them in like one of those, it's a number 4 filter. They're like triangular shaped. You open it up, then you have a thing. You put your ground coffee inside of that. You sit it over top of your cup. So it's like it almost looks like a teacup. And you put your filter in that, you put with the coffee in it, and it's got holes in the bottom of it. You sit it over your cup and you pour the hot water over that, and then it drips into the cup. So it's very strong coffee. It's direct. It is
Something you and I would both like.
Yes, but it has to be the right coffee bean in order for me to like it, because I like a strong coffee, but I don't like a real rich coffee. But this is red mug, so I don't know.
Not a coffee drink.
Don't know that I've ever had a cup of red mug coffee, but it's supposed to be the best. So
All right.
Red mud or red mug?
mug, but it could be mud. I don't know. One of them has a barrel sauna.
Really?
So it's not inside the unit, it's outside, but you walk through the woods and there's a barrel sauna that you can use. It also has a cold plunge, which we are getting rid of because it's, listen,
where are you getting rid? Where's it going?
you don't want this thing.
Oh.
It's a plastic barrel, and it's made to be a cold plunge, but it's a plastic barrel that just like you just climb 2 steps and then step way up in and you just sit in this barrel. It's weird.
That's what a cold plunge
No.
is.
No. A cold plunge, you should be able to get into easily and out of easily. I'm telling you, if you were wet trying to get out of this thing, you're breaking your neck.
Like it's just like a barrel. Like it
a
goes
slip and
straight.
slide.
Yes.
Yeah, I know a girl that does that.
I don't know how you could get out of it. Like I would forever be stuck in that barrel. They'd have to roll it over and let me crawl out.
Actually, hers, the girl I'm thinking of, hers is like almost like a blow up one. So yeah, how would you get out?
That's what I'm saying. I don't
know why you'd want to get in.
I agree.
No.
We put one in.
No way.
We installed one at the club, at our club, and it's actually a hot tub that we rigged with a chiller to become a cold plunge. So it sits standard, I think, at 53, but it can go down to like 32. And people are in this thing all the time. what is wrong with you?
What is the benefits of it?
Yeah,
You
it's
must have
mental
fallen and bumped your head because there ain't.
It's great for your mental health. Like,
Well-
if I was a guy
What,
and
like
I
if
didn't
I
have
could
my
survive
hair,
this, I could survive anything?
Yeah, that would be about it.
yeah, because you're supposed to just like sit in there. And,
No,
Yeah.
I stuck my hand in it for about 12 seconds, and I was like, "God, that hurts!" Like
No.
my bones hurt.
I was in the pool over the weekend to close it, to get it cleaned. It was 74.
No,
That was
right.
That's cold.
Yeah.
It's silly.
It's cold.
See, boy, I got rid of my pole when my heater went bad.
Yeah, it's silly. Silly. But anyhow, so we're getting rid of that. We'll probably pull that out. But otherwise, we're going to keep those, like that super trendy kind
Yeah,
of
I think you
unique
should.
experience. So.
Yeah, my hot tub's less than 100. I'm like, it's cold in here.
Well, what's the point of having a hot tub if it's under 100?
Yeah.
Right?
It's just like,
That's why I like my pole.
That's how my parents are. I'm like, my gosh, it's so hot in here.
And
Come
honestly,
down to go swimming. I'm like,
89,
not
92. I'm
refreshing.
like, no.
honestly, like a swimming pool heated to that temperature, it's kind of like just being in your own body filth. Like you're just,
Yeah.
it's just soup. It's
Yeah.
human soup.
They fall asleep in it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that's a therapy pool. Like people who
Sure.
yeah.
and
they
do physical
do.
therapy and things like that, they prefer
Oh, that's
a
true.
warm pool.
Yeah.
Or old people. Beth, I'm not saying that. I'm
No,
just
you
saying
can
like
say it.
it typically older people prefer the warmer water. But if you're like Olympic water is cold. It's like 60, 70, 60s to 72.
That's
Yes.
what makes that one. That's
Because-
what makes them swim fast. They
Yeah, they want to get out.
Yeah, I got it.
It does something to restrict your blood flow, I guess. And then like a standard hotel swimming pool is 84. So
Good to know.
Yeah.
American Heart Association taught me that. Got into an argument with a guest one time. They're like, your pool is too cool. I'm like, no, my pool is perfect. You're too old. That's what I said. It was Beth, by the way. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, man.
Okay, so back to the topic.
anyone?
And I've got one, but I'm kind of like waiting to.
Well, a couple
Test
years
the
ago, my
waters?
dad was in the hospital. He had had a heart attack, and we got transferred from the local hospital to Canton. And he had had several cardiologists. Several doctors said we were doing open heart, but we were in there for a long time. He ended up with blood clots in both of his legs and pulmonary embolisms. He had clots in his lungs. And so we had to wait on those to clear up. And, you know, my brother and I are both in the medical field. So we both had questions for the surgeon when he came in. So, of course, that aggravated the surgeon. How dare you question
Oh, yeah.
question him? And, you know, my brother's like, well, we would have never done this where I work. We would have done this, this, and this. Well, he's like, well, would you like me to send him where you work? You know, well, my brother's
Maybe I would.
Columbus. So no, we weren't going to go to Columbus, but surgery was scheduled for the next day. Of course, our prayer warriors here were praying every day. And so the next day, the surgeon comes in and he says, we're not going to do surgery. We're going to send your dad to main campus. So we got transferred to Cleveland. Main campus, they do another heart cath. So this is his third heart cath.
Jeez.
And the surgeon up there says, your dad doesn't have a blockage.
Wow.
We're not doing open heart surgery. So, but two surgeons at Mercy, we were doing open heart. We get up there after many prayers, and he did not have a blockage, did not end up with open heart surgery.
Wow.
So there was an answered prayer for me.
That's great.
Yep.
I think that's crazy that, I mean, just one surgeon, like, getting it wrong, let alone two.
Two.
Yeah.
And just because, like, they're all qualified the same way, pretty
Oh,
much.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, I will say Cleveland Clinic is the best.
Right.
And, like,
Yeah.
they're known
Yeah.
for that.
Well,
but
and
it
main
just,
campus, when they got in there and they were going to do the stent, they wanted to put him on a special study. So they were going to put a special stent in. Dad agreed. Dad signed the paperwork. And then we get in there. And I mean, he's not in there 20 minutes and I'm getting a phone call. My brother and my daughter had stepped outside because we're figuring it's going to be a while.
Mm-hmm.
20 minutes, I'm getting a phone call and I'm thinking,
Yeah. Worse. You
know,
immediately
yes,
panic.
yeah,
I'm
Right.
texting them, you got to get in here. The doctor's calling me.
Mm-hmm.
I go back and he's like, we're not doing anything. He doesn't have any blockages.
that's amazing.
That is crazy.
Amen.
Yeah. That is
Yeah.
crazy.
We had an opposite situation with Margie. I mean, during COVID, I mean, she developed a blood clot in her lung, but there was two different hospitals we went to before that just said it was indigestion.
Mm-hmm.
And so they gave her all this antacid and indigestion to drink and all this stuff. And we were in Steubenville, was the second hospital we were in, and she called me and said, "Oh yeah, I know.
Oh yeah.
I mean that hospital is scary.
Yeah. My daughter's been there.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's been updated since the 60s or 70s.
Probably not.
I don't
Do the lights
maybe-
flicker when you walk down the hallway?
It's
Because the
like-
way you're describing it,
Oh,
it
yeah.
sounds like it would be in a scary movie.
Yeah. Well, we pull up, and immediately there's a cop sitting there.
Yeah.
And he's escorting this woman out, and she's in the orange jumpsuit, handcuffs.
Oh,
Yep.
perfect.
Yeah.
So that was our
Sounds about
introduction.
right.
Perfect.
And when you walked in, it was just like they had this big plastic curtain. And they took her back behind that curtain. I thought,
Never
probably
going to
the
see her
last time
again.
I'm going to see her.
Never going to see her again. This is
Bye,
it.
Mark.
This is it. This
And
is
she
it.
said she just laid there, and once in a while somebody would just kind of pop their head in and
Make sure
pop
she
back
wasn't
out.
dead.
Yeah. But nobody
Well.
was really doing anything. Nobody was really, asking her any questions. And thank God she called me and said, "We've got to get out of here." So I went and picked her up, and I think it was the next day we took her to Union, and they immediately found the blood clot.
That's
And you
crazy.
think, how could two hospitals miss it? And they
Actually,
didn't, and I don't even think they did anything,
Right, because they.
Yeah.
out of
Strap. Yeah.
care. They just.
So whatever her complaint was. Just
Yeah, she said, my chest hurts. I feel like I can't breathe, and
weren't they
So
thinking
what if they just didn't
gallbladder
say
or
it was
something?
anxiety?
Yeah.
yeah.
Huh. So
But
many
no,
times.
they said it was
it's just
indigestion. I
anxiety.
mean, we went to Rite Aid. I think it was Rite Aid. And the prescription was like these 8 huge bottles of antacid.
Jeez.
You got to drink those, and she drank maybe, I don't think she got through one of them, but she knew right away that wasn't the problem. But yeah, I mean,
I remember
could have
I talked
ended-
to her
that
on
could have
the
ended
phone
very
that day, and I'm
badly.
like, Margie, go. Don't waste any more time around here. Go north.
Listen,
Yeah.
this is just a fun fact about me. I love Tums.
I do too.
It's not a joke. I have a container of Tums in my bedside table
Just to eat?
Yeah,
Just to
I
eat
like
'em.
eating them. Yeah,
just
I like
to
'em.
eat them.
The
You're
coated
good.
chewy
Yeah.
ones or the
No.
Chalky
The
ones.
chalky ones. I
Yeah.
like the chalky ones. I want to eat the ones that like you can almost blow dust after you eat them. Yeah. And I don't want the flavored ones. I want the menthol ones. Like I don't want the fruity flavored
No, I
ones.
like-
I get the fruity ones.
We know why you like them.
Yeah. It takes the place of my cigarettes. Yeah, I don't know. And I mean, I will eat the fruity ones, but I just have always, I was thinking about the other day, this is going to sound really crazy. I was thinking about getting me some Flintstone vitamins.
Oh,
Do you guys miss
yes.
Flintstone?
I do.
Like,
Do they even make
I
them
just saw a
anymore?
post
yes, they
on
do.
Facebook the other day with the Flintstone vitamins.
And I feel like as an adult, they should make an adult like male multivitamin that's just a chewable Flintstone vitamin. Because you could get me, I would take a Ninja Turtle vitamin. I would take a Power Ranger vitamin. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
the guy vitamins are boring. Like,
Yeah, they
And
are.
Not only that,
Like
the
Hims.
adult vitamins, they stink.
yeah, they do.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the bariatric surgery, but after patients, they have that and they put them on all those vitamins. They still recommend the Flintstone vitamins.
Really?
See, they got to be
Because
good for
they're
you.
chewable and
Yeah.
they digest easier.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm getting them. I'm getting me some.
The gummy ones or the chalky
No, the
ones?
chalky ones. Everything's got to be chalky.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh,
I remember as a kid, a friend and I, we sat on his porch swing and ate a whole bottle of Flintstone. They were so good.
One.
That's his
We were
guilty
all right.
pleasure.
We turned out okay. Yeah, we ate them like they were candy. We didn't know.
One
I'll never
time,
forget that.
my brother and I, when Bob's carryout was still open, we went and got a box of jujubes. Do you know what jujubes are?
Mm-hmm.
They make juju fruits, but jujubes were the same thing. It was like a hard candy, but it was supposed to be a gummy candy. They looked like little mini dots,
Right.
but they were hard.
Oh.
So we would buy a box of jujubes, then we'd walk over to IGA, and it sound crazy. We would buy a jar of dill pickles.
I was going to say, and you passed the pickle jar
Yes.
back and forth.
And we
to
would
rate
sit on the
last
playground
one?
at Trenton, and we would eat the pickles, and then we would chug the pickle juice.
Yes.
Chase it with-
Yes.
I don't like
You would just
jujubes.
swap it back. Like,
Yeah.
you drink some juice, you drink
Yeah.
some- Yeah. Me and Shy did that.
Jujubes and pickle juice. I don't know.
Now, I do drink pickle juice, but it's usually at 2 in the morning when I got a terrible leg cramp. And I go, Jarvie, give me the pickles!
No, I just pickle juice is just good.
It is.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've
Yeah.
heard it does.
Yep.
Because Margie's been complaining about her leg.
Or mustard.
I'll have to,
Really?
Mustard.
So what is it about mustard?
about
and-
mustard?
Hear that,
Pickles.
Margie? Pickle juice.
I don't know.
Okay,
Maybe it's just,
I just-
vinegar that's in it.
I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
it's weird.
But mustard works.
But
Interesting.
I now buy little shots of pickle juice at Walmart and
Oh,
keep them
jeez.
They're in the bottom drawer of the
Okay.
fridge.
All right.
Shots of pickle juice.
Let's talk about the weird
And she's
stuff
gonna
we
get
buy
pickled.
in mini size now. Have you guys seen? How many of you have been to Chick-fil-A?
Me.
Okay, so most of us who have been to Chick-fil-A, if you get a ketchup there, it's like it looks like a little ketchup bottle, little tiny plastic container. You peel the top back, you can dip your nugs, or you can rip the top of it off and you can squeeze the ketchup out. Seen those?
Yeah.
Right? You can buy those at Walmart now.
You can?
Yes, and it's like a 12-pack. It costs more than 3 bottles of ketchup. Honestly, it's stupid. Now, I don't eat ketchup, but on occasion, my wife will buy those because they're nice for on the go. I'm like, put ketchup in a plastic container, like, and even if you just took the whole bottle of ketchup and just threw it away, it's still cheaper. Like, honestly, I've never understood that. It's amazing to me what we will pay more for the convenience. Now, one thing I will never turn my back on is squeezable Miracle Whip.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's more. It costs way more to buy that. Like, I get way less.
Yeah, but you don't have as much waste,
And
really.
I am not trying to, like,
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
mayonnaise up to my wrist trying to
Right.
scrape out the bottom of that stuff.
You're
So
not supposed to
Now,
use
wait a
your
minute.
fingers.
Have you tried the new French's mustard that it has the dill pickles?
I don't eat mustard.
Oh, I'm telling you.
I don't eat ketchup or mustard or relish.
You're
I don't
mayo.
even eat relish.
Listen,
Just
don't
mayo.
order mustard like she does.
I like mustard.
Do you like mustard as
And
much
give
as
me
Linda
extra
likes
mustard.
buttered?
Well, I'm not that bad.
Oh, yeah, yeah. She said,
I ordered a sandwich one time and I said, just like Dawn's. I can back and
Yeah. You have to like wipe the mustard off of
both
it.
sides, you know,
mustard.
give me mustard on both sides.
You keep talking about mustard and pickles, and my great grandma came from it would have been
Your great great grandma.
my great grandma.
Yeah. She came from your great great grandma.
Yeah. Yes, and she came from.
Your great 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 grandma.
But apparently, England has this thing where they make mustard pickles. But we've tried making them, and my grandma would have to get this certain mustard from her cousin from Italy, or not Italy, England, gosh. And she would send it to her. But now you can't get that mustard anywhere.
Really?
So it's like, it just doesn't taste the same.
That's
And but you have to put them in a crock and let them sit. Like, it's a whole process, but it's worthless now because you can't get that
Can't get the
mustard.
same flavor.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep. So,
Any other miracles?
Miracle Whip.
did go there.
Well, I mean, I told
Not
the
whip
story
without
before
the-
too about my son's college education. I couldn't afford to send him to school, and so I wasn't tithing the way that I should have tithed back then. I was just donating. I didn't feel that I could afford to tithe. So when I decided, I'm jumping all in, getting my feet wet, started tithing the way that I was supposed to. And we prayed about his college education, and he ended up with the John Glenn Scholarship. He went down to test at Muskingum, and he had a full ride academic scholarship.
Nice. Very
So
nice.
did not have to pay for his
Yeah.
college education.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'll share mine. And mine's very recent. Very recent. So yesterday we hosted a band. First time in a long time. We had 80-ish people in the building for that show. Now, how is that a miracle? When have we ever done anything in this building where we have gotten outside people to come without some level of coercion, right?
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
So it was funny because everybody who was here last night thought I had lost my mind. So I was standing in the lobby, and the first van pulled in, like a car pulled in. It had 6 kids in it. And I'm like, here we go. This is going to be awesome. And I was like, 10 kids. I'm amped. Like, we're going to get 10 kids in here. We had almost 80 people in the building. And so I thought about it, and I was thinking, like, just trying to wrap my head around, how did we get here? Because my vision has been that we are going to do more outreach than anybody else is doing. Like, we are going to bring people to the church, and I don't mean our church, but to the church in general. And we're just going to try to love and support people who wouldn't normally get it. So I was sitting there thinking about, like, how did we end up in this place? And I realized that the visions that we've had for the building, like the identity that we want the building to take on, that we want our body to take on, has really become the community's thought of what we are and who we are.
Mm-hmm.
So think about the Easter egg hunt. Now we've got the food pantry. Now we've got that concert. Like, there's so many things that we're doing the dodgeball nights that are allowing people who would normally be unchurched to be in the building. And that has been our prayer since day one. Alyssa and I have said that we never wanted to build a building full of lazy Christians. We wanted to build a building full of unlovely people who could come here and just be loved on. Right. And so I was so excited to see that last night. And then when we got when we started counting and we were almost at 80, I was like, I'm losing my mind at this point. And then Alyssa and I were talking about it. And I realized that the miracle in that is not that we had 80 people in the building.
No.
It's that we had unchurched people here
Exactly.
to be at church.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, the difference was, it wasn't about us or what we had done. It was about what God had done in the community, but through us. Now, here's the sad part, though. And I had to behave myself, just so we're clear. So Twin City Ministerial Association met this morning, and I desperately wanted to go. I invited all of them to represent their churches here.
No.
And last night, this church stood alone, entirely alone. When they introduced the pastors, it was me.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
There was nobody else here to go up there. And we are not for everybody, and we know that. And so I wanted a Presbyterian pastor here. I wanted a Methodist pastor here. I wanted, other Pentecostal pastors here, but it just didn't happen. I invited them. I sent them all of the information that they needed to know. I reminded them again last night. I sent a text. Hey guys, don't forget tonight we have concert. Hoping you guys can be here to represent your church. I sent that text. Immediately following that, like within minutes following that, another pastor posted a picture of his wedding invitation in the group. And said, hope I can see you there. And everybody's like, yeah, we're going to be there. Yeah, count us in. Yeah, count us in. And I'm thinking to myself, the message that I preached, 3 weeks ago, that there's more rejoicing in heaven.
Yes.
When one person is saved. So
versus
all of these pastors are going to go and celebrate a wedding of an already saved person, but they can't make time
for the unchurched.
For an unchurched group of teens who may never set foot in a church again.
Well, and group of teens, like that's your future.
That's the starting of the journey.
And the reason that we're not doing it is we've gotten lazy. I mean, honestly. And so I am thankful that we are pioneers in what we do in our community, that we are not going, because a lot of churches are like, well, we don't do a food pantry because it takes a lot of work. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it's stupid, the amount of work that it takes.
They at least have the people, because we don't.
But why would we not do it if we have the resources? Why would we sit on it and just say, well, we could, but, we'll send a couple of volunteers over to the food pantry in town. Well, guess what? They get a 21-day supply of food. They can only help you so often. We can help as often as somebody may need that help.
Exactly.
Yep.
There's the difference. And I think it's selfish of other churches to think that some of it is this, and just my opinion. They're afraid to let their kids out of the building. If they were to recommend that they come here for that show or that concert, or even for a Bible study or a game of dodgeball or whatever, if they bring kids here, there's a possibility they may like it better.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they lose people. And if they lose a kid, maybe they lose a parent. Or if I don't want your kids.
Yeah.
You don't like kids.
I don't like them to begin with. No, I don't want your kids. I don't want your congregation. I want them to stay where they are. But what I do want is for us as a body
Their support
to be able to speak into these kids' lives. We did just an absolutely terrible job as a community supporting a group of kids who needed it more than ever. Now, I knew this last night, but I don't know who they were. But so are you guys aware that the high school has an LGBTQ plus group?
No.
Okay, so they have a club, quote unquote, and they're allowed to meet during school hours. However, there is a Christian group at the school that is not allowed to meet during school hours. They have to meet before or after school.
So now I'd be rough and feathers.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, here's the insulting part. The principal of the high school goes to the ministerial association and says, hey guys, I'm new to the school. She's been in the district, but I'm new to the job. I really want your support in the school. And then turns around and tells that group, you can't meet during school hours. You can only do it before or after. And I thought to myself, how insulting is that? Because those guys, and it is mostly men, sitting around that table have no idea that that's happening.
Yeah.
Have no idea. Do you know why they don't know? Because they don't care. They go to their church on Sunday morning, maybe on Wednesday night or whatever, and they sit there and they do all of the things that they've always done.
They clock in and clock out.
And I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm not trying to disparage. Some of those guys do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But my point is that we do the mundane. We do the day in, the day out. We are not doing anything new and unique to reach people who are lost.
Yep.
I say it all the time, and this is not a joke. This is like reality. Look at our church. We have like, it is an odd bunch, right? It is an odd pairing of people in this building.
Oh, yeah.
I say we are the church of misfits.
And we are,
Yeah.
but it's because of how we operate.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I will give you just about anything that I can give you, if at all humanly possible. Now, here's when it dawned on me. I got to find this, though. That what we did was not just about our community. Said you would have seen this. Probably.
The message?
Uh-huh.
I didn't open it. But
Okay. So I got a message today, and it says, so I'm from Massachusetts. It's Westfield, Mass. I was surfing Facebook, and I saw your church, and I started to check out all of the activities, and I just felt like it's time that I go back to church. I've got a lot of issues, but regardless of God, God has been good to me. Lots of typographical errors in here. God has been good to me, and I just turned my back on him. Now I think it's time for me to go back before it's too late. Massachusetts, folks.
Yes.
Not even in our community. Seeing an ad on Facebook.
I've noticed the past 3 weeks, there's been a lot. Like, I think from the pantry and from just random people just messaging and reaching out, and you'll click on their profile. You have no mutual friends. They're not even from around here, but that's what we should be doing.
It's insanity to me, though, that through something it really was a very little effort on our part. It didn't cost us anything to do last night. I mean, there was no cost in that. We volunteered our time. Yeah, we had to heat and cool and all, but other than our time, there was no cost associated with last night's event. We had 80-ish people who got to hear the gospel. And we got a guy in Massachusetts now going back to church because we showed up for our community.
That's right.
And they presented that gospel so softly.
He did.
And
you can tell he's done it a time or two, eh?
it was. I'm used to, your tent revivals.
Yeah.
It scares the bejeebies out of you. And that wasn't it at all. It was
He told a
very
story.
general.
Yeah.
Yes.
He told a story. I'm going to tell this story too real quick while we're here and somebody might hear it. If they hear it, I will get in trouble for it. So last night we were for the concert. The guy says, hey, you know what? This is going to sound a little bit strange, but I want everybody to just sit down wherever you're at. Just sit down for me. I just want to talk to you. And so all of the kids, like immediately, boom, down to the floor. And my oldest son was here. He was with his girlfriend, and they had a small group of friends. I don't know that they're all like friends, but they had stood in the hallway and talked for a while. And that group sat there and talked the entire time. And I went over and I poked my wife. I said, I'm about to light those kids up. And she said, just let them be. And I said, you don't understand. Like, he knows better.
Yeah.
Like, he knows better.
Yeah.
But I thought to myself, maybe this is just like, the seed is going to be planted, and maybe we'll never see that harvest. You know what I mean? Like, those other kids were just, driving me nuts. Driving me nuts. But it's frustrating, especially when you know that they know better. But what are you going to do?
Yeah, and like you said, the seed was planted.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
know that for a fact.
And I had to warn, I shouldn't say I had to warn, but we had the conversation before the show started. All of the volunteers met in the cafe, and I just said, they're high schoolers. They're going to do stupid stuff. They're going to throw trash on the ground. They're going to act a certain way. Just let them be.
Yeah.
I don't want to be chasing these kids out of the building. Like, we want to give them a comfortable place to be. Now, if they start fist fighting, we're going to handle that. But for the most part, we're not going to. But, I was talking about the LGBTQ thing.
Yeah.
And the programs. One of the girls from the LGBTQ group was here last night.
And did you just know that because
somebody pointed it out to me?
Okay.
Somebody pointed it out to me. They said that she was part of that group. So it was nice, though, that she felt comfortable enough to be here.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
you never know what God's going to do.
Amen.
There was one young girl here. I think she had jumping beans for supper. Okay.
You're right on.
Yeah.
She never stopped
I know.
jumping
I know.
up and down and listening.
And you have no idea that the message behind every one of those songs is gospel centered. Do you
That's
know
how
what I mean?
NF is as well. Yeah.
Do you guys remember ICP?
Insane
Like
Clown Posse?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Do you remember?
I don't remember, but I have a cousin that's older than me and he still follows.
Okay. All right. So Do you remember at the end, like when they cut their last album, allegedly many years ago, they said that they were a Christian band? I was like, boys, you can lie about a lot of things, but you can't drop the F-bomb every other word and then pretend like, we knew we couldn't present ourselves in a way that people would. I'm like, get out of here. Like, nuh-uh.
Aren't they the ones that had like the hatchet man?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, because my cousin, he still wears that hatchet man. I mean, that big necklace.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He took his mom to one of these like
Geez.
weekend things that they had, and she's like, oh, it was like a craft show. Like then I started looking at stuff. It's not a craft show.
Their trademark was they would throw bottles of Faygo out in the audience. You remember that? Like they would.
Oh, that's why he drinks Faygo.
Yep, you're exactly right. That's exactly why. They would take 2 liters of Faygo and they'd shake them up and they'd bounce them off the stage so they'd spin out into the audience.
Oh,
yeah.
my.
Yeah, it was nuts. I grew up in that, and my brother had a good friend who was like hardcore juggalo, as they would call themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And he would I'm talking like every time he was around, he had his CD Walkman with his headset on and he was listening to him some ICP. And I'll never forget when he told me that they were a Christian group whenever they quote unquote retired. I was like, dude, you're an idiot. But what are you gonna do?
I think we had an example of answered prayers right here in our own church. We had someone who was pretty much expected to go in for surgery for cancer. And when they went in,
Yeah, you're exactly right.
yep,
I remember that.
yeah.
I remember that.
to do the surgery, and they decided they were going to do another colonoscopy. And when they got in there, the mass was completely gone.
Yeah. Yep.
Completely gone.
I remember that. The wild part is that's the stuff you can't explain to somebody because you can say that and they're like, oh, well, it was probably never there to begin with. Well,
Oh, listen, she sent me, I'm like, I don't take this offensive, but can I have a picture of your colonoscopy picture? I took them to every doc, and they're like,
Aww.
well, I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
They're not going to give credit, but
Yeah.
they,
Yeah.
I don't know how that
Exactly.
happened.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell a story of my. I just have terrible luck, but I think my sister has. She's like bad luck shy. Like that's her. Bad luck shy. That's her name. But I have some pretty terrible luck too. Well, Cooper's head down all 37, 38 weeks because I had to start doing more ultrasounds train like the last 10 weeks. So we were keeping up weekly. Well, then we go in 37 or 38 weeks. He's like, I don't think he's head down. Okay. So then we're looking. Oh, well, he's transverse, side to side, not up and down. I'm like, great. So he's like, well, let's schedule a C-section. This was on a Thursday. He's like, we'll schedule it for Monday. He's like, go home and talk to baby. You just tell baby just to turn, flip. And I'm like, yeah, okay, So I go home and I'm looking up all the things to do. I mean, I looked like such an idiot. I was
Turn.
I mean, I had my head on the floor and my knees on the couch and I mean everything. And then I think at one point I had even slipped and not completely fallen, but did something in the shower. I'm like, well, I felt something there. So I'm like, well, maybe he turned there or maybe, and then I'm like, well, I don't know if he turned, but I want to keep doing these things, So we go in and sure enough, he's like, we'll do this ultrasound just before I take you back, and did the ultrasound and he was head down. I'm like, thank you, Jesus. Well, then after that, it was something. It was over 30 hours of labor. And that it was I wasn't progressing fast enough. And so then they were like, we can do we can break your water. That'll kind of start moving things along faster. I'm like, okay. So and it did, 7 hours later. But then he's like, you're stuck at a 5 or a 6. I'm like, okay. Well, then he said, just, watch some of the Guardians and just don't think about it. Well, he comes in about an hour later and I mean, during this time, we're just praying. I'm like, come on. Well, it was at an 8. I'm like, okay. So, and we just kept doing some more, I don't know, movements on the balls and all those
that's
things.
what I was going to say on the
Yeah, so he came in another hour later and was like, well, you're stuck at a 9 and like I can't, you're so inflamed. Like a lot of the times you can move the cervix from one side to another, but I was so inflamed that I could not, like I couldn't do that. He's like, we'll just do like about 45 minutes of this one. It wasn't even him calling the shots. It was the nurse.
The nurses.
Right.
100%.
Oh yeah, that's how it works.
And she's like, let's just do it. Let's just do another hour. This last hour, I was just on like child's pose. I don't know if anyone knows what child's pose is, but it's like where you're just head down, like basically praying, like on all fours, like, and it was basically supposed to just relieve the pressure from him being down. Now, he was head down, but it was too much, because his head's so stinking big.
It's not big. It is round.
It's perfectly round.
It is round.
But
it is not big.
That was the problem. But as I was in that child's pose, I was just like praying to God, like, oh, come on. And I mean, I saw that nurse, like she had tears dripping down, like when he came in and was like, all right, let's do it. Let's start pushing. I'm like, because I was like, at that point, like, this is like hour 23.
Jeez.
And if I'm going to have to flip back to doing a C-section all for nothing,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm beating that kid when he comes out.
Yeah. There were many answered prayers throughout that whole last week. And I mean, throughout the whole thing, but I just really saw him working that last week. So it was nice.
Well, I think the interesting thing about this topic is most of the time when people are talking about, prayers and what have you seen and what kind of miracles have you seen, people are generally looking for something really big.
Like walked on water or,
You're always looking for, something like that. But a lot of times I think it's most important that, prayer is like perseverance. Mm-hmm. If you're in the habit of praying all the time, if you find yourself daily praying, I think a lot of your prayers do come to pass because you're in that mindset. You're one with God. You're working through your day that way. You're always, just looking in that direction. So it's nothing miraculous. It's nothing that, you can fill an hour show talking about and really get people excited.
Right.
It's just really, it's the mundane things of life that we all have to go through. Then unfortunately, life is hard and you have to pray your way through it most of the time.
Oh, yeah.
And so to me, that's, I think where prayer is, it's much more important than waiting on some, miracle or some big thing to happen.
Yeah.
Because
it might not.
Let's be honest, I think that's kind of like why we're all quiet, because maybe we all haven't seen this big miracle in our lives.
Yep.
But I'm sure if we think about it, we can think, well, on a daily basis, how we live our lives and how we focus on God and how we pray our way through things.
Yeah.
We could feel like, oh yeah, God gets me through a lot of things every single day. And, you could behave a lot worse on most days in a lot of situations, but you don't. You handle things well because you're focused on God and not on something else that's going to make you react negatively to a bad situation. So that's what I think is important.
Yeah.
I said, don't always go looking for the big miracle.
Right. Thank God we pray to a God who listens.
Because I'm not going to believe in God unless you show me a big miracle.
Right.
I think a lot of people are like that. Well, if he's, if God is real, then show me. I need to see.
Especially in like the science field.
Yeah.
Because I have several little answered prayers.
Yeah. And then you're like, do you even want to bring those up? Because it's like,
since we are all quiet,
since we're on the topic.
I will. I had an area that was on my chest, and I was sure that it was probably a skin cancer. It was painful. It was irregular. It was a terrible color. A friend, my pastor's wife, she's a registered nurse, and she's like, you got to get that checked. Well, I'm a nurse. I don't have a doctor.
Yeah.
Who needs a doctor?
Right?
You can treat yourself. But so I would rub that area and I would just pray. And, and it was still there and it was still there and it was still painful. But finally, one day in the shower, I'm like, God, you got to take care of this. You have to take care of this for me. I can't. And lo and behold, it was gone. So it was just gone. It's never been back. Pray that it never comes back, whatever it was. But I was certain it was.
I wonder
something.
Is that how that works? If you rub it and pray about it, it'll go away?
I did.
Hey, Easton.
I can tell you another thing.
But I'm sure you know what this is.
It's a phone.
Shut up.
With a picture.
Gosh, you're sharp today.
I was going to say, I am on fire today.
My sister had a just recent this week.
Yes.
It's a viral infection, right? I'm not going to try to pronounce
Oh,
it.
well, me neither.
Pneumococcal pneumonia.
Basically, this you want to try? You can
Yeah,
try.
here, I'll do it.
You change your
That-
mind?
Mm,
But yeah, I don't.
So-
that's why I use the generic names of drugs because they're so
Yeah.
much easier
yeah,
to say.
I have a game that I play when I see an ad on TV for a disease
nice.
or something. Then I have it. So like I have pneumococcal pneumonia right now.
Yeah.
I also have mesothelioma and if I cough, my wife she'll look at me. She'll be like, "Are you getting sick?" I'm like, "No, it's just my mesothelioma." I have no idea what it is. What it does? I know you get it from inhaling asbestos.
Yes.
but I don't know what it does to your body. But that's what I've got.
It's a viral infection.
Oh, okay.
It starts with a P. Rosea. Something.
Pterodactyl sounds like a wine.
Pityriasis. Put. Yeah. You want to try to pronounce that? But it was pretty
I just want
similar.
to say psoriasis.
It does look like psoriasis.
Really.
Spell it for me again.
It's a pity. That's what it is. Pity riot.
How do you spell it?
PITY
Pity.
RIASIS
And then
and ROSEQ
EA.
EA.
Yes.
So that it's like
It's an
like
alphabetical
psoriasis
word.
and rosacea.
Pityriasis rosea.
combination.
Pityriasis rosea.
Pityriasis rosea.
Yes.
Hit 'em.
pityriasis.
But Shy was super.
The Christmas tree rash.
Is that what that's? Yeah. And
That's
I
the
guess,
common name?
Well,
Well, now I've got that.
my friend had it as well, and she said it's like sometimes if you catch it or if you don't catch it in time, like and get a cream that you'll have like a host, and then it'll start spreading, and that's what happened with her. Well, Shy caught it in time, but Shy was all concerned because she's like, she just had thyroid cancer
Oh, yeah.
a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And Shy's a WebMD doctor.
Yep.
She's
Nope.
like,
You're dying.
She's like taking a picture. She's like, well, great. It says that I have
Plan the
I'm like,
funeral.
Yeah.
I said, stop Googling things.
Yeah.
And I mean, so I think for it to be a viral infection instead of something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
that's-
something way
That's
worse.
an answered prayer right
Yeah.
there. So
Yep. Well, my daughter's in remission from leukemia that she was diagnosed with. She's been in remission, so
that's good.
there's
Yep.
an answered prayer.
Yep.
God
Yep.
for that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I was coming home from Green one time. My gosh, guys.
I was going to say, everybody's sleeping on us on this one.
I was driving home, pouring down rain. I was coming home from Green. I was on 77 South. I had just passed Mercy Hospital, and I was in my little Prius that needed new tires.
Blue,
Blue? No, it was
Why does the color matter?
white.
you need to listen to Jeff Dunham.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay.
Well, so what is that? 3-4 lanes of traffic
Mhm.
there?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was midday, lots of traffic, and I start hydroplaning. I'm spinning, and I just said, "Jesus help!"
Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, my little arms were going like this. And that car spun 360 all the way across all those lanes. Not another car
Oh.
involved. It was only me. And I ended up on the on-ramp, stopped about this far from the cement wall,
Uh-huh.
barrier wall. I sat there. I thanked God, took a breath, went back up the ramp, back down the ramp. And I'm like, oh, it's time to get these tires changed.
So it's funny you would tell that story because I have one almost identical to that I was going to share. So a couple of years ago, after we got joint custody of my two big boys, they were going to Claymont. We lived in Dover, so we had to drive them to school on our days that we had them, and it was raining, just wild rain, and we were all running late. They're slow to get up and get motivated in the morning. And dude, we are flying. And I'm like, when I say flying, it's 75, but it's raining bad enough. You shouldn't be driving 75. You should be lucky to be driving
55 or
60.
60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Gotcha.
But I mean, we are cooking. So we get past the mall exit and there's the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
We get over the bridge. And the next thing I know, we're in a tree. A tree had fallen onto the road and you couldn't see it. And we drove through it. And I was like, holy crap. So I dial 911 and I just call the because I wanted to let them know that it was on the road.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking in the rearview mirror and everybody's coming through it like that. Like, because you can't see it.
Yeah.
So he said, thanks for reporting it. You're about the third call. So like we're getting somebody out there right now. And so Aiden says to me, Dad, where's your mirror? And I look over, my side mirror's ripped off. It was just obliterated, okay? I mean, there are branches sticking out of the hood of the car, like, and I'm talking like branches, like, is mangled the front end of that car. But we kept driving because I'm like, we got to get him to school, right? So,
Can't be late for that tardy belt.
right. The state trooper said, just swing by the post and we'll get you an incident report. That way you can turn it into your insurance. No big deal. So, we're continuing to drive to school. We get to McCully Drive. We come through the light, and right at the exit where you would go off to go to Yerkesville, same thing, hydroplane. And I'm talking, we are spinning as fast as we can spin. And I'm like, hold on, boys. And I'm talking just spinning. And we come to a dead stop facing the direction we needed to be facing, right at the, like, right before you would go down into the median. And the car that was coming up next to me, she obviously slowed down. And she comes up beside me after we stopped, and I rolled down my window. She rolled down her window, and like, she's panicked. Like, you can see she goes, "Are you okay?" I said, "We're good, thanks." And off we go.
Now, are you still have the branches hanging from the car?
Yeah, all of that is like the branches are sticking out.
What is this dude doing?
Yeah, like it looks like it just came out of the woods, spinning in circles. So I'll never forget that because Aaron, like, they were both just melting down. And I was like, I'm calling your mom before you can tell her because your story is going to be way more dramatic. He tried to kill us, Mom. So I called their mom and told them, like, everybody's good. It was a little bit scary, but everybody's fine. Aiden came home from school and he's like, Dad, my leg really hurts. I'm like, why does your leg hurt? And he pulls up his pant leg, and it had scared Aaron so bad that he grabbed Aiden's leg and dug his fingernails into his leg, like made him bleed.
Oh, my goodness.
Dug his fingernails into his leg. And I was like, my gosh, dude, quit being a wimp. But did you die?
Right.
Well,
But did you die?
I don't know if this one is much of an answered prayer, but I'll say I had not an actual angel, but like an angel during the time. It was my stepmom. It was like it was the first day on a route that I was learning. It's like Sharon Drive, Sharon Valley, Paradise Lake, Miller Road, all these places. And because I think I had done it the day before with her, like just driving it. And I know those roads as it is, but there's certain places you have to turn around or do left-hand turns that you're not used to. So I do one while I end up in a ditch. And I'm like, so Chase had pulled me out there. And I think it was like 2:30 at that time, and I still had like an hour and a half left to deliver. Then about a half hour later, I have to make this wicked left-hand turn on, it was on Eichel Road coming from Old Town, and made the turn, get into another ditch, and I call Cindy. And I'm like, she's like, well, is anyone coming to help you? I'm like, well, I can't get a hold of Chase. Well, I guess there's two angels because there's this guy who was actually just going to his house, but he had a Toyota that he pulled me out with. I'm like, thank you, Jesus. And Cindy's like, yeah, I told your dad about the first incident, but we won't tell him.
We're not going to talk about this
one.
anymore.
It was like a half hour later.
Yeah. Can I make a recommendation, though?
Yes.
You should take your horse to Old Town Road.
Yeah, okay.
I
don't have a horse.
I tell you what, you guys got to get me out of here tonight. Like, I'm just full of it. Like, I am just looking for trouble.
Good topic. Good topic, guys.
Oh, Lord have mercy. We're only at 52 minutes. So I'm saying that because the first half was talking about Flintstone vitamins.
Right.
So.
Well, I think he does so much in our lives every day that we don't even actually think of him as
That's what Nick was.
prayers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Miracle's getting up every morning.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Well,
It is.
Or good health.
the rain even. Like,
We needed that.
Yeah.
yeah,
it
like
did.
desperately needed that rain. Like there were people who were going to go without water when wells started to dry up and things
Right.
like that. So that
Yeah.
rain was like, it was a desperate need.
They were going to pull my boat out early.
They did at Atwood.
I know.
Was that enough rain to keep
I
your boat
think
in the water?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we desperately needed it. We haven't mowed the grass at the church for probably 2 months
No,
because I mean it was
have to
crispy.
mow.
There was nothing
Yeah.
to mow.
Yeah.
Well, I know like fire departments were delivering water to people for their cattle
Mhm.
and stuff like that.
Chase had no idea we were in a drought. We mentioned it last night, and he said, I'm like, Brittany, Cage, you knew about the drought, right? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I figured.
Yeah, you see, live under a rock.
It's weird, though. Like, he keeps up with today's, like, times and sports like that, like the famous people stuff, songs,
Pop culture.
Yeah, pop culture, not me. I keep up with the news and the politics, and then we kind of just mesh them together.
Yeah. We have a debrief at the end of the week. Hey, here's what happened this week in the real
This
world.
is what you should know.
Yeah.
This is what you should know.
That's what happened in the real world. Here's what happened in pop culture. Mesh the two.
I
All
mean,
right,
it
got
works.
Yeah,
It works.
It works. It works. It's fine. It's fine.
I'm like, well, dang it. I didn't really brief him about the drought.
Yeah.
I
See,
just
that's your
figured-
fault. It's
I
really
figured
your fault.
everyone knew about
Yeah,
that.
you figured when you went outside and the grass was crispy that he would figure it out.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain to my owners that technically we weren't allowed to use the charcoal grills that we had at our properties because, I mean, they're right in the middle of the woods. Like,
Yes.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
one mistake and this whole place is gone. But not a lot of people do anyway, but just the thought. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Were they like, what?
Well, it was more like we all knew that we were in a drought, but they didn't realize the risk of using a
Yes.
charcoal grill.
Yeah.
So
You know,
Yeah.
growing up, my dad was sure to teach us to check your fluids in your vehicle,
oh yeah.
air pressure, and all of those things. Well, I wasn't very good at it. Dad would say, check your oil. You know,
Oh, I can
Now
hear
I-
that right now. I can just
well, so
hear
now
it.
I'm out on my own. You know, I'm starting home health, and I have this old little Toyota Echo that I was driving. Because if you're going to put car miles on a vehicle, it needs to be something that is easy on
Yep.
gas.
Yep,
and that
for
you're just
sure.
gonna-
Yep.
For sure.
So I'm in my route in Newcomerstown. My dad's at his lot in Newcomerstown. He was mowing grass, so I stopped to check on him that day. I'm like, hey, and he's like, hey, you check your oil lately? I'm like, no. So it's
Judgy McJudgerson.
So he checks my oil. He's like, how are you even driving that thing? That thing's bone dry. I said, I pray over it, Dad. I pray over that car when I get in it. God, you got to keep this car on the road for me.
And
Dad's like, well, you have to do something. to
Yeah.
keep that
At
on
some
the
point,
road
you're
yourself.
responsible for it.
Yeah, right?
3 times I drove that thing bone dry. And my dad 3 times was the one that checked that oil. How do you keep that thing on the road? I pray over it, Dad. I don't know.
And when
God
it starts
kept that thing on the road
well,
for me. He
when
knew
it
I
starts
needed it.
rattling, you just pray even louder.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
I
light
can.
never came on.
Yeah. Well, then that's the car's fault.
Right.
The car's
Never
defective.
Came on.
Which
Light broke.
what they forgot to tell her was the bulb burned out.
It was out when I bought it.
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
I told you guys the story of my cousin on 77, right? I think I did. Driving, and they were like, what's that? And it was the emergency brake. And
Oh, my
like, I feel
gosh.
like I shouldn't, like, it was I don't know. It was like an older car, and they were all used to newer cars. So they didn't, and she's like, no, guys, I probably shouldn't do, like, I'm not touching that while I'm driving. Well, then they finally get in park, and she touches it, and time to find out it's the emergency brake. Like,
It was on?
No. They wanted her to
Oh,
pull it. Yeah,
Oh.
because they're like, what
They'd have
is
flipped the
that?
car over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
My sister did that to was it a Chevy Chevelle? I don't remember what it was. My sister was in the passenger seat. That's why we don't let kids in the front seat anymore, right?
Right.
And my sister just yanked out on the emergency brake, folded that car in half.
Wow.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. My kids don't understand why they're not allowed to ride in the front seat. It's because I don't like them, but
They're not allowed on the go-kart either.
golf cart. Yeah. Well, that's because they left the
That's
keys
on them.
at home. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
their fault.
Oh, they left the keys at home?
Mhm.
They're not in trouble.
No, they left the keys at home. So
They're acting like they're in trouble.
yes, the keys were in my Tesla, and Alyssa drove the Tesla tonight. And they said, can we get the key out? And I said, yes. So they went and they got the key. They brought it inside. We left 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes after Alyssa did. And Easton laid it down in the house, and we left without it. So we got here, and now they can't drive it.
I just thought they were being punished because I.
So did I.
Thought I was. Why aren't they on that golf cart?
Yeah.
Moping around.
Easton is convinced he can drive.
I believe.
He
There
is
is no
fully
doubt in my
convinced that
mind.
he
I've
can drive.
watched him.
He'd be scary.
He says to me, he's like, I had to back Alyssa's van out of the driveway for the kids to play basketball one day at my house. And he goes, Dad, can I do it? And he was as serious could be. I'm like, no,
you cannot.
no. And now I told Alyssa, I'm like, now we have to hide the keys, our phones, like, because dude's just going to he's going to disappear one day. Do you guys remember the story about the 8-year-old girl that drove to Target?
That's
Yeah.
gonna
It's going to be
be.
Easton.
right?
It's going to be Easton. Easton's going to end up over.
I'm surprised he didn't beat her to it. Really.
Yeah, honestly, right. There's a pawn shop right around the corner from our house, and I'm a regular there. Like, I pop in probably 3 times a week just to see what they have. Right now, I'm waiting on an air compressor. So if anybody sees an air compressor for sale, good deal. Let me know. Want an air compressor? I want a big
Okay.
one. A big one. I don't want a little dinky one.
Like how big?
Like
Like a
30,
Well, like
30
big-
gallon tank.
probably.
Well, that's what
I would go
my dad
20.
has one at. I don't.
My
think he
daughter
wants to
got
get rid of
one.
it,
Somebody
though.
had thrown out to try.
Well,
It's in our garage. We use it all the time.
I've got a tiny one that I use like to fill up air, put air in the tires, things like that. Use with my little nailer. But I want something for car detailing, so I want something bigger that can
Oh.
hold some pressure. So, anyhow, so I'm in there regularly. Easton is always like, "Dad, can we go to the pawn shop?" I'm like, "One of these days, he's just gonna be gone.
Yeah, when he's gone, you know where he's at.
Yeah, he's gonna be gone.
Call
I'm just gonna go to the pawn
shop.
shop. Just gonna go to the pawn shop."
Yep.
He's gonna go in there and slap his big bank on the counter and say, "Let's see what you got."
He wanted a flip phone so bad, it didn't work. Like you couldn't get service on it. We could have.
Did he find it at the pawn shop?
Yes.
Nice.
So we walk in there. He's like, "Dad, it's only $15." I'm like, "Buddy, but it doesn't work. You can't call anybody unless you like pay for it every month." He's like, "Nuh-uh." Nuh-uh. He was so desperate to get that thing. So we went and I took him in, and he found a video game that he wanted. I said, "You're getting one. You can buy the flip phone, or you can buy the video game." He took the video game. He's a smart kid. So a couple of days later, he's like, "Dad, you want to go to the pawn shop with me?" "Dad, let's go to the pawn shop." So we go to the pawn shop, and he's thinking, now I can get him to buy the phone because I already got the game. Right? We get there, the flip phone's gone.
He had a
Oh
meltdown.
my god, he didn't have a meltdown, but he was not like he wasn't like crying and throwing.
He
a
was
fit,
like, "All right,
but
let's go."
He was exactly. He was. I'm done.
Yep. I
Done.
don't need to walk around
Nope,
anymore.
don't need to be
I'm
here any
done.
longer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Come on, Dad, hurry up.
Did he really want service on it, or did he just want to mess with it?
He thought that it would work. He wants
He
a
didn't
phone,
realize that.
and you can't explain to him that like because it's a real phone. In his mind, it was going to work.
Yeah.
You can't explain that you have to put service on it and that you're going to have to pay for it.
Yeah.
You just couldn't get him to
that's-
understand.
Yeah. That's hard to.
Quite annoying, really.
Yeah. Like how would
Because
you do
Rosalind has one that she was one of Clayton's, I think, one of his first ones where it slides
Yep.
up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm like,
Uh-huh.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
you all should have been around when Jarvie went from the flip phone to an iPhone.
Oh, I don't know. I enjoy watching Roger try to answer his.
I just.
I ain't never seen anybody poke a phone as hard as Roger does.
You've never seen my wife then.
My dad did.
I don't-
We just put him back on a flip phone.
I don't allow her to touch my. She's.
She's dangerous.
Oh,
She mean to it.
yes, and she.
Well,
We're-
Clayton
we're
had
go-
given him one. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We're going to the We're going to the doctor
Yeah.
this morning. So she's going to call her friend. All she got to do is push contact, go to her name, and push the button. And she's. I said, "What are you doing?"
See, I don't even do that anymore. Like when I'm driving to work, I'm like, "Hey Siri, call."
Me too. I'm
Look,
getting.
she's trying to
lazy.
call somebody. Cancel.
Well, listen, I learned not to say, "Hey Siri, call Pastor Michael."
Wrong, Pastor Michael.
I can't say now to mine, "Hey,
Mhm.
she's still listening. Stop." I can't say like, "Hey, like play podcast, like or play Growing Together podcast." It'll say you need to up or agree to this all these terms. I'm like, okay, well, pull up these terms for me because I don't know where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And well, I can't do that too. I'm like, I don't know what these terms are, but I really want you to start working for me. So
So I've really dug into AI. I know not everybody loves that, but AI, I'm telling you, it does so much stuff for me anymore. Like
I bet it does.
I was going to hire, this is not a joke. I was going to hire a personal assistant in the Philippines on Upwork just so I could like dump all of my brain stuff and be like, organize this for me because I can't keep track of it anymore. Like every morning I want you to send me an email with the stuff that I know I need to do today. Like just keep track of me, please. And then I started using, so there's a company called, hold on, let me look it up here. I don't remember the name of the company.
It's not Grammarly, right?
No. Well, okay, if I could find it.
Silence.
We're still here.
Don't go to sleep.
If he hit record.
Yeah, I did. It's the light's red. Light's red. Anyhow, the one that I am using right now, her name is Soshi, and there are I think 24 AI assistants that you can buy, quote unquote. And so like I hired Soshi, and she does all of my social media posts. So I'll hop in there and be like, "Hey, for Organic Church, post something with this photo and a caption similar to this. Use a soft tone, use something upbeat, use lots of emojis."
I was
She'll
wondering
create
if
the
you
post
did.
and drop them in for me.
I really was wondering.
Yep.
Yeah.
She'll schedule them. She does everything. It's fantastic.
That's nice.
So nice.
Now, is it free or you have to pay?
No,
for
I
it?
pay for it. Yeah. So she ain't cheap, but she saves me
Well,
time
she's
because
worth
I don't have time to keep up with the church social media. So now
Is it Tri-Sintra?
Sintra.
Sintra?
Sintra is it? Yes. So Sintra is you can buy all of them for X amount a month, but I use Soshi. She's my favorite. And so she here, let me see if I can.
So she what?
See, you're catching on. You're catching on.
I need to go home.
You're catching on. Let's see here. Let's log in. I don't remember my login.
Well, you've got 542 of them.
I know. Somebody said to me the other day, "What's your email address?" And I went,
Which one?
Yeah.
Also, just while I'm doing this, I tried to get Alyssa to buy a Tesla for herself. She won't do it. She's so boring.
I thought she wanted to.
She did, and now all of a sudden, no, I don't think I want.
Mine's fine. It's okay.
No, because she's like, I'll just drive yours.
I want the truck.
Cybertruck?
Cybertruck.
I don't think I do.
Those are ugly.
Yeah, it's not even that they're ugly. They're kind of cumbersome.
I just want one because they're cool looking.
It looks like you're
Outer
from outer
space.
space. Yeah, it does.
It fit me. Lost in space.
It didn't expire.
We used to watch Lost in Space.
Yeah, this is stupid. Anyhow,
I like that.
I asked Soshi to create me a social media calendar, and so she tells me, like, for a whole month.
Yeah.
So week 1, day 1, you're
Yep.
going to post about a church volunteer. Week 1, day 2, you're going to post about an outreach ministry. Week 1, day 3, you're going to post about, and then you can go back and feed her the information that you want. Like, so, okay, I'm going to do a post about Dawn, and here's a picture of Dawn, and here's all of the things that I want you to say about her. And then it'll do some
So nice.
flowery post and just
Because
post it for me.
I've manually done that. Like I'll think of 5 different
And schedule it.
categories
Yep.
and then schedule them. And I mean, because realistically, you should probably be thinking 6 weeks in advance.
Yes, correct.
And so, like when we started the one when I went with the dentist, like we kind of just had a couple weeks to where we weren't posting much at all because you want to get ahead of the game,
Right.
by doing that 6-week thing. But it's hard to kind of think like that, like, oh, what are we going to be doing? So, like right now, we should be thinking like Thanksgiving and
Right.
yeah, but yeah, that would definitely be a time saver for sure.
I can't get the login. It won't send me my code.
Yeah, because I think even my topics were like, do 2 reviews a month and then 2 behind the scenes.
Yep.
2, yeah. So you could just
Take a picture of a famous person's mouth and then ask whose teeth they are.
That's a good idea.
That's the kind of stuff I like to do. I like the weird stuff.
Very good idea. Yep.
John Stamos. It's always John Stamos, right? Isn't it always John Stamos? Like that's always the answer when it's celebrity trivia because it's Uncle Jesse. Everybody knows Uncle Jesse.
Yeah.
Jesse.
Anyhow, apparently Soshi doesn't want to work today. She's taking the day off.
It's
So
on vacation.
yeah, she's taking the day off. I don't know. Lazy. I'm gonna fire her. Just so you know, if you fire her, you don't get your money back. So sucks to suck. But I paid for it for the year, and it was like $140 for the whole year. Worth every penny to me. And she can do all of my channels. I only use her for the church, but she could do like my Elvis page. She could do the church page. She could do any of my work pages. I just have to tell her where to put the post.
That's nice.
And if I don't like what she does, like she'll give me a draft, like, hey, here's what I'm going to post. When do you want me to post it? If I don't like it, I can tell her, hey, go back and change, and she'll adjust all of the things that I want her to adjust.
That's cool.
So what's she do for you?
She does all of my social media posts,
Okay.
So all the church.
social media posts.
The Facebook.
Yes. Yep. And I was thinking we should probably do a church Insta and then link the 2 together, but I haven't done that yet.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
I was just wondering, who has time to do this every day?
Nobody. That's
Someone
the
with
problem.
that's people's full-time
Yeah,
jobs.
that's what I was going to say. There are churches, even in our area, that have full-time media people.
Yeah.
Like that's all they do all day long. They create the backgrounds that you see on Sunday morning on the screens. They create all of the content, the digital content that goes out, schedule all of those posts. I mean, I used to do it for Schönbrunn, Garland Hotel, like all of the hotels that I used to manage. I had a subscription to a website called Hootsuite, and I could manage all of my accounts in one and see their calendar. But to post 5 days a week on social media, it's tiring.
And I feel like almost 5 days is like too much.
I agree with you. But they say that if you don't, based on the algorithms of Facebook and Instagram, if you don't post 5 days a week, people will stop seeing your stuff.
Yeah. I like to do like 3 days and try to find the most popular time of the days. But that's kind of just some playing around with it, though, too. Like trial and error.
I am getting really mad at Soshi, though.
Oh, so she didn't.
Oh,
So she did.
So she didn't. You really need to go home. You really need to go home.
Dun-dun-dun.
Everybody at work thought I was stupid when I hired her. When I bought this, they're like, "Dude, that's dumb." And then I showed it to them. They're like, "Wow, okay, that's clever." And it's so easy because it's just a little box. You just type in the box and you just tell her what you want her to know. It's like when you set it up, you set up the brand. So you kind of tell her, like, here's how I speak. These are the types of words that I use. She asks lots of questions like that, and then off they go.
So how long did that initial setup take you?
20 minutes.
Really?
Yeah. And they ask you questions for all of the avatars, even though I only use the one. So they ask you, like, so if you have a shop, an e-shop, there's one that can do e-shop. What products do you sell? Who do you market to? So a lot of that is just skip for me because that's not obviously what we're doing. So,
Huh.
Now, does she do the text thing too?
No.
Because I got that text.
Courtney does all of that.
And I thought I was responding back to. I got so many texts going
yeah.
on. I responded back to that one,
She-
and I got this text back saying, "Well, thank you for responding. Someone from the church will be reaching
Yeah.
out to you." I'm like, "What?"
I wish you were the only person that did that. And I think at the end of this, we're just going to start putting, please do not reply.
Yeah.
Well, I
Not
didn't mean
reply
to.
to
I
this.
thought I was responded to
I know.
our group.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. If I put please do not respond at the bottom or please do not reply, that at least maybe that will trigger the,
Yeah, but you have to read
Maybe.
it all.
yeah, unlike
Yeah.
Roger
Yeah.
who goes, that one time I said something about we podcast on Wednesday nights and I said something about skipping and Roger's like, okay, just tell me when and where. Read the whole text, Roger. Read the whole text.
I think I had to
That's
tell you
right.
guys to play nice.
Please. Yes,
somewhere
yes.
along
That
the
was
way.
that was the play nice. Yeah. I was like, come on, man. You're killing me, Smalls. Jeez. Jeez. Any other miracles?
Well, Matthew 17, 20, 21 tells us, truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move, and it will be moved. Nothing is impossible for you. So we just have to know that if there is something that is worrying us or anxiety or whatever, if we just have the faith of a mustard seed.
Yep. Amen. That's why we were talking about mustard.
Right?
It all comes back around.
Wow. If we were
did it
able to
again.
tie all of that back in, we
did it
have
again.
like that's
No,
covered
she
it
said
without
mustard seed, and
covering
I'm
it.
like, oh.
this is the weirdest group of people I've ever had the pleasure of working with.
Mustard pickles, the French's new dill pickle mustard.
To talking about AI avatars all the way back to
So
mustard seeds.
Dude, not ever ordering your sandwich like Dawn.
Yes,
You get
yes.
nothing but mustard and bread.
So last week we tried, whenever we uploaded, we did this little thing where
Not
we
last
could,
week.
not last week, the
Or
week
the
before.
week before.
No, week before that. It's called Co-host AI, and it basically did all of the mastering for us after the fact. It created the synopsis, it gave us a title, it did all of the work. It also does little flags, so it'll like bookmark based on the conversation. So it'll bookmark like talking about mustard. It'll bookmark talking about AI. It'll bookmark. And so this one, if we were to do that with, it would be all over the place. It'd be 1,000 markers. It'd be like, we have no idea what they're talking about, folks.
Will it do it?
By the time they read that, they'll not want to listen.
Will it do it automatically?
Yes.
Okay.
So it listens
So
to
I
it.
can't wait.
It takes it a little bit of time. It listens
Yes.
to it, and then it goes back and
Okay.
it adds them all in.
I wasn't sure if we had
That's
to
our mission now.
personalize.
Is crash AI.
Yeah. Wreck it. Wreck AI.
do
man.
it.
Make it so it can't. It has no idea. Like it.
So
there's
she's
a
listening right now.
there's a server somewhere bursting into flames because of us. Like
yeah. So
Yeah,
she.
so the whole world's in turmoil and everything is shut down. They'd be like, who can we call to fix this problem?
Yeah.
All the Growing Together podcast group.
yeah, they're the ones that created this mess. Oh Lord have
And they're the only ones that can get us out of it.
Lord have mercy.
But that brings us to a good point, though. Like from I'm gonna try to reel it back in from when we were talking
Good luck.
about how there's been a lot of people that have been reaching out but that could also be not only like the social media presence on Facebook, but it could also be from us. You know what I mean?
Certainly.
Like they could be on Facebook because of this.
Yep.
They could have found us because of this.
Yeah, we have no idea.
I don't know. Let us know.
No, I can tell you that some of the messages that we get, so if it's from a sponsored post like the guy that I read, it actually tells you responding to an ad.
Sponsored ad.
Yeah, it'll tell you that you know that that's somebody that has seen a paid advertisement. So but for all of the good ones we get, we also get bad ones too, because there's some crazy ones out there.
Yeah, there are.
I had 3 or 4 people that tried to get me to send them money. Like, we're just down on our luck and we just really need to have some. I'm like, yeah, sorry, we can't
Get a job.
We can't do that. And mainly because they wanted like to Venmo or whatever. And I'm like, it just sounds fishy.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're traveling
We'll
from
just send them to what's her name?
Sochi.
Sochi. Yeah.
Sochi.
Yeah, Sochi.
So she
Take care
can
of
pay
it.
your bills.
Sushi.
It's,
Please
We
call
gotta-
my secretary Sochi.
we got to end this soon. It's getting bad, y'all. Send help, please. Oh, goodness.
Do you think it's from the food pantry post too? I mean,
It's a little bit of everything. So that one would have been from the sponsored post for the concert.
oh, okay.
Because I didn't limit the radius on that one like I did this one, because I wanted it to reach all of Tuscarawas County and surrounding. The food pantry was limited to Tuscarawas County, or what really Yorksville, Denison even. So
Except for what? The Minneapolis.
yeah.
yeah.
I don't know how that mess ever got
Yeah.
started. But also we had another one today. We got another application today for
Oh,
the food
good.
pantry. I reached out to them, no response again. So we got to find a way to make them more comfortable answering those text messages. So that's a challenge we get to solve. It was just one guy. He lives in Philly. So as soon as I saw it, I sent a text and said, hey, it's Pastor Michael from Organic Church. Really want to be able to help you out. Like, if you're still in need, let me know. If not, either way, no big deal. But we just want to be able to.
Is it because it came in a text?
I don't know.
think, or-
I mean, I don't have any other. I mean, I could email them, but what do you check your email all day,
No.
every day? So I figured a text message, and they have an iPhone because it's a blue bubble, but it just shows it's delivered. So whether they've got their read response on or off, but they may not have seen it. So I don't know.
Well,
See where it goes, though. I mean, we've had people from Bowerston. We've had people from West Lafayette. Beth, you delivered a box. Freeport. We've delivered boxes and had boxes picked up from all over the county, and we only ever advertised in Yorksville and Denison. And most of the people we're helping are from Yorksville and Denison.
it's
But
good.
yeah, it's been a
And
blessing.
maybe because, they do have the ability of the larger
Right.
pantry here.
Alyssa said that as well,
Yeah.
because Yorksville has a food pantry, so most of them can go there to get support. But like in Bowerston, they don't have a food pantry, so this is as close as they can really get.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
realize that.
So
Yeah.
And I honestly don't know what's available in the West Lafayette. And that
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
either.
There.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah.
I know there is a pantry down there that does all like their household cleaning supplies and personal products and things like that. But
Somebody made a wild suggestion to me that we should do a mobile food pantry.
The only reason I suggested it.
Oh, was it you that suggested it?
Yeah. Was because I'm on this Facebook page it's like Sisterhood of the Traveling Crib. So anytime, like everything on there is free. If you have a free bouncer, if you have free food, like baby food, whatever, like you post a picture, tell them, hey, message me for the address, blah, 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 blah. But a lot of the times
They can't pick it up.
they can't pick it up. The one girl needed diapers last week, so she said, does anyone have size 2 diapers? So I said, I do. And she only lived in JC Village, so she was messaging me and was like, but my husband has the car, like he works midnights. I'm like, I'll, bring it. Or I think it's afternoons. And I'm like, I'll bring it. But I think I've done that like 3 or 4 times just from that page.
Yeah.
But that page does like represent what we are trying to,
Yeah.
the kind of community that we're trying to feed into.
Well, anytime somebody says something to me, I think about it for a long time. Like, it never goes out of the brain. It always hangs out in there. And I was thinking, if we had a big enough trailer that we could actually just pack the food pantry in the trailer,
Oh, yeah.
hook it up to a truck, pull it to a community, and pack boxes while you're standing there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
all your stuff's on the shelves inside of totes. So whenever somebody walks up and says it's a family of 6, they fill out the application. We turn around, we pack a box for a family of 6, hand it out the window, have somebody out there ready to pray with folks, and out they go.
Yeah, because then you could be set up at
You could pull up to JC Village.
like Connaughton Valley School,
Right.
like, if they let you.
Correct.
Yeah.
But you could pull up into even just
Village,
sections of our community
Yes, for
even
sure.
and be able to help
Denison
people.
Woods.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any, yeah.
That.
So here's my vision. Now you got to let me get bougie on you, okay? So we get a big trailer, not a great big one, but big enough. All
Make it a tiny home.
Yeah,
You
we'll
gotta
pull a
get
tiny
stand
home.
in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get one big enough that you can put shelves on the one side. We
Yes.
bolt the shelves to the wall of the trailer. But
We.
we,
I heard it, Roger.
it's you. It's really just you.
It's his honeydew list.
Yeah, yeah.
Roger.
Yeah,
Tiny
it's
duo.
really just you. What's it? R&M destruction.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get a trailer big enough. The back end can be either doors that open sideways or the trailer that flips down.
Yes.
Either way. So you can put a man door in it or just leave it so that you go in through that door. But then a service window that flips down and out.
Like the coffee cart that Timmy's has that
Yeah.
sits at.
There you go. Okay,
Place.
didn't know that. But yes,
Uh-huh.
it's very
Yep.
similar. It would do something like that.
Yep.
And then wrap it so that we could put the logo on it.
Yep.
And then like wherever you take it and you park it, people are going to know what it is. Like,
No, when you were talking about it just now, I was picturing
Yeah.
Timmy's cafes.
I'm
yeah,
telling
thing,
you,
their
it-
coffee cart.
if we could pull that together, that would be wild. Like,
Mhm.
could you imagine being able to pull that thing into communities and just be like, here we are? The other thing
Genius,
the
too.
other thing that I've
It
always
is.
wanted to do. Have you ever seen Tide's laundry truck?
Mm-mm.
It's nuts. So it's a semi, and it's like a laundromat. They flip the doors down,
Huh.
and you can walk in and you can wash and dry your clothes for free. They take it to major disaster areas.
Yes.
Oh.
So they provide all the laundry soap. They provide so they hook up to a fire hydrant basically, and then that feeds the truck.
Mhm.
And then they have, I don't know if they use electric dryers or what it is, but they
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
and you just go and do your laundry for free.
Yep.
How cool would that be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But we could also sponsor the free laundry days as well. Have you seen those?
Yeah.
All of the Finish Line laundromats, they work with T4C, and they do free laundry days. And so you can go and
Oh, I did see
Mhm.
that. Mhm.
you get so many loads for free.
Yep.
I think where we fail, though, this is my opinion, when we limit the number of loads that somebody can do, because
Mhm.
now you have to decide whose clothes are getting clean,
Right.
right? Like, so there's little things like that. But
Yep.
you can't give everybody everything. That's the hard part.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know when the kids were teens, we went to Columbus, and they called it the Knoll because on the other side of the tracks was where the homeless lived,
Mhm.
and it was in the back of the factories, and they. I can't remember where it was, a big church down around Coshocton in that area down there, and they would put a tent up, and they would have to listen to the word, and then when they would feed them breakfast, and then then feed them lunch and feed them supper, but they also had another cart, or trailer that kind of like you talked with the window down, that they could get socks and
Yeah.
clothes and certain things. I mean, they even ran to the Walmart and grabbed tents because every so often the city comes in and just burns them out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it was neat.
Yeah.
It was scary.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, what's your friend's name?
Rhonda?
No. Mm-mm. The one that came on Sunday. You weren't
Oh,
here.
Phyllis.
Phyllis. So Phyllis, she said to me, she's like, not everybody wants to volunteer because when you go and work with homeless people or drug addicts, they're scary. And she looks at me. Now, she's a little lady.
Yep.
Yeah,
she is.
yeah.
So like I'm looking down at her and she goes, but you're scary to me. And I was like, okay, fair. Like it's true. Like
Yeah.
while they are scary to us because they assume that we're looking at them as if they are not worthy,
Mhm.
they're probably just equally, people try to tell me frogs are more afraid of me than I am of them. I bold-faced lie, by the way. But it's like,
Yeah, but
it's the same thing whenever you're interacting with somebody you're not comfortable being around.
Yes.
There's a level of discomfort on both sides. So
sure.
being able to embrace that and just like, hey, we're not here to
Yeah.
tell you what to do. We just want to make sure you got what you need. So,
Yeah, because they're, like in the mornings, they were still coming off their high.
Mhm.
oh yeah,
Mhm.
And then a lot of them you didn't even see at lunchtime. And then at supper time, they're starving.
yeah,
Yeah.
They were totally different people than you seen at 6:30,
Yeah.
7
Yeah.
in the morning.
Huh.
So there's all the fun ideas, but I've got to finish a project before I can move on to another one. Like I got to get something done here. So if anybody wants to donate about $8,000, great, great.
8,000 towards our trailer.
No,
Oh,
Towards whatever.
That's
8,000 to get my gym finished.
yeah.
I want that project off the board.
Yeah.
Just did a bunch of lighting work in there. Holy smokes. You have no idea how much work that gym's going to be.
Unplugging extension cords left and right. They will be.
Did you see them at the concert?
No,
It was probably 40 or 50 extension cords run all over the building. And I was like, if Beth sees this, she's going to have a stroke. I mean, they had them in every outlet in the kitchen, just stretched across the kitchen, plugged in everywhere. They had one run out into the lobby plugged in for the merch booth. I mean, extension cord kings. They had extension cords everywhere.
They had how big was that tote?
Oh, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. I mean, it was one of those rolling totes, and it was full of extension cords.
But they were the heavy duty ones.
Yeah, they weren't going to burn the building down.
Good.
I said to them, have blown any breakers yet? They're like, no, but we also haven't turned it on. And I'm thinking, dang, 'cause I know I'm going to be chasing breakers. But we didn't.
They didn't blow any.
No, nothing.
Good. It was exciting last night.
It was a lot of fun. It was really cool to get to experience that with all of those kids and those teenagers. So,
And it even brought my hubby out.
well,
Yeah.
They introduced us as, if you have a church, great, stay there. But if you don't have a church, you're welcome here. That was it wasn't you're welcome here if. It was you're welcome here. And I was like, that's where we're at.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Good.
Anything else? Any parting wisdom?
If you didn't get any the last hour and a half.
I don't think there was any real wisdom for the past hour and 25 minutes, but there were a lot of words.
There was.
Sure was.
A lot of words.
Yeah.
It's word salad.
So
Word
she
salad.
said.
So she said.
Get me out of here.
You know what, Sid? You know what, Sid? Since you did that, you have to pray us out tonight.
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I just thank you for allowing us to, meet together every Wednesday and share our thoughts, whether they're off the wall or not. I'm just glad that we have this group and we're able to preach into so many lives, past, present, and future.
Yes.
Thank you for this topic, Lord. I know we were kind of hesitant because I think we think about just miracles, the large ones, but the small ones are just the same, Lord. I pray for safe travels in your name. Amen.
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 Hey friends, Pastor Michael again. If you've enjoyed this podcast, you should consider joining us on Sunday mornings. Our address is 1943 North Water Street Extension in Yorksville. We'd love to have you join us for an in-person service.